Okay, I think we are good to go here, folks. Welcome back to First Reform Take, the basketball podcast YouTube series adjacent to Power Walk into Jonestown. I'm Seth, and tonight's going to be a solo dolo for me. Waylon said he had some kind of business in Manhattan last Tuesday, I believe, last Wednesday, actually, the 4th. Haven't heard from him since then. Not really sure what's going on there, but I'm sure he's doing well and is not currently fleeing from justice. Anyway, tomorrow night, Tuesday, December 10th, starts the most exciting pre-Christmas part of the NBA schedule, the Emirates NBA Cup. We got through the at times confusing and generally low intensity tournament, not tournament, group stage of the NBA Cup to get to the real meat of the formerly named in-season tournament, which is the knockout rounds, the one and done do or die that last year produced, I think, the highest rated non-Christmas Day NBA games in several years. Served as one final feather in the cap for LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. Served as sort of a brief launching pad for Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers until they came screeching back to earth this year. Um, but anyway, clearly some excitement built up over the knockout round. Before we begin, I just want to say this is the only podcast, only journalistic entity that takes the NBA Cup at all seriously. There's either a lack of enthusiasm from this for the legacy media, or to the extent that there's any enthusiasm, it's just sort of lost in the shuffle of new media bullshit writing. And I wanted to highlight an example of this really quick that I ran into today. Um, this is from Danny Chow of The Ringer. As you can tell, they redid The Ringer's website, and it's just total fucking dog shit now. It's like impossible to find. Here we go. Any of the actual writing. Yeah, let's see here. So Danny Chow. So you can always start with the lead. Um, yeah, this is the lead from Danny Chow. I'm not even going to read this nonsense out loud. I just want people to sort of soak it in, take a few moments to read. This is how he started his NBA Cup group stage preview. Just complete nonsense, dog shit writing. I don't even know where to start with this. I hope in some way, if this, there's no outlet for criticism for this, for the way modern sports journalism is written. So I hope in some way, somehow, something about this video catches the algorithm's attention, and somehow this gets back to Danny Chow. And I just want to say, Danny Chow, fuck off. This sucks. This writing sucks. You sound like Elon Musk. Please go live in a cave. Okay, so I'm going to keep things pretty basic and straightforward as far as the preview is concerned here. Not really going to rehash the group stage, but we have the number one seeds, the Bucks and the Thunder. Then we have the other group stage winners, the 2 and the 3 seeds, Rockets, Warriors, Knicks, Hawks, and then the wild card teams, the second place teams that made it out of the group stage with the highest point differential, the Mavericks and the Magic. Um, as Waylon would probably point out if he was here, group stage just really does not work with 30 teams. They're in a holding pattern until there's 32 teams, and they can do 8 groups of 4. Not going to happen at the very earliest until Steph and LeBron are retired and can be gifted an expansion franchise in Las Vegas. The way those two are playing, that could be easily another 5 years. So, not ideal for sort of the formative years of the Emirates NBA Cup. when you're trying to establish it as a legitimate second tier trophy, a la the uh, you know, domestic competitions in European football. Um, but hopefully with continued high intensity games, especially in the knockout rounds, if enough people take winning the championship seriously, then we can only hope that there will be um, enough interest to keep things afloat until the tournament can really sort of find its legs. So we'll just preview each game in turn and pick a winner here. Bucks Magic. This one was probably more interesting about a week ago when Franz Wagner was still healthy. He just joined Paulo Banchero on the injured list with a torn oblique. Definitely the kind of thing that I think you got to start grilling your strength and conditioning people about, because it's pretty weird to have your two best players go down with basically the same injury in basically the same time frame. Um, Magic, there's just not enough firepower here to keep up with the Bucks. My prediction is this will probably be the worst of the first four quarterfinal games here. I just assume Jamal Mosley will have his team playing total slop ball to try to slow the Bucks down. I expect to see a lot of defensive clogging between Jamal Suggs, Goga Batadze, playing at the nail. Yeah, if the Magic are going to stay in this at all, the main goal is going to be try to keep Dame and Giannis from getting easy buckets and dare the Bucks to beat them with Bobby Portis and the corpse of Chris Middleton. Still have the Bucks winning. It's probably going to be like 100 to 93 or something comparatively low scoring by NBA standards. But yeah, no Paulo, no Franz. I don't see the Magic being able to keep up with even a sort of middling Bucks squad. So moving right along to Tuesday night's other game, Thunder Mavericks. Luka Doncic, obviously, as established as an enemy of the pod and an enemy of the Discord, but my gut instinct here is that the Mavericks are going to win this game. Because I can already see the narrative in my head that, the Thunder still don't have enough experience. They're too young, which they're not really. I mean, Shea's 26 already. Um, but I think it's going to be one of those things where it's a do or die game, and I think they're going to get enough out of Luca and Kyrie to sort of overcome the Thunder. Uh, Isaiah Hartenstein's presence, he's healthy now. It's a little bit of a wild card. Because I don't think the Mavericks big men are really all that good. Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington. I like Derek Lively, but he's still I don't even know if he's healthy right now. This is the kind of thing Wayland would already have pulled up, but give me 1 second here, folks. Derek Lively, what's his status for the game? Um, that was a month ago. What do we got here? Well, he played 27 minutes in their last game against Toronto. Yeah, I mean, if he's the one person on their roster who can neutralize Hartenstein defensively and offensively. They're gonna have to lean on him pretty heavily, but I think there's going to be enough there. I think the Mavericks get a close win, probably a pretty exciting game. But yeah, we're not quite rid of the annoying ass Dallas Mavericks yet. They will advance in this, and sort of put a question mark on the Thunder's ongoing rebuilding project. Um, not how I wanted to go. I'd rather see the young and relatively young and interesting team in the Thunder win, but something about my gut instinct says the Mavericks will pull this out and move on to the semifinal. Looking at the Wednesday games, we have Knicks Hawks. I predicted the Knicks to be the Emirates Cup winner before the season started. It seemed like sort of the perfect try-hard tournament for a Tom Thibodeau coach team. Um, They can actually check live on their score. They're currently losing to the Raptors on the road. This is why I don't feel great about the pick. I'm not sure there's a less consistent team in the NBA right now than the Knicks. They're 14 and 9. They're a bad road team. Um, Sorry, I'm giving everybody seizures here trying to pull up their damn hell's their schedule. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, you can look at their losses. I mean, not all of their losses are bad, but they've already lost to the Hawks once this year. They've lost to the Jazz by 15. I mean, and that was even on a back-to-back. They had 2 days off. They lost to the Pistons at home on Saturday. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this is a team that I don't think they have the loss of the Pacers. The Pacers stink this year. I don't think they don't have a win against a good team yet this year. Well, the Magic, yeah, was Wagner already hurt in that game? Yeah, they beat the Magic to, yeah, that was the game. They actually, the Magic had to come back and they were down by more than 36. And if they had lost by that much, the Celtics would have gone through as the wild card team instead of the Magic. I said on Twitter that I wanted the Knicks and the Magic to pull a disgrace of Gijon or Gihan, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, and screw the Celtics over, which didn't quite happen. But other than that Orlando win, there's no good wins on this entire Knicks schedule. They've lost to every competitive team this year they faced: Boston, Cleveland, Houston, Atlanta. I mean, you can't even call Chicago or Utah competitive. They lost to Dallas. Yeah, I mean, this is a team that would be playing 500 basketball if they were in the West. They just happen to get to feast on the dregs of the NBA East, the Eastern Conference, and I just don't buy them anymore. The Hawks have played. The Hawks are having one of the weirdest seasons I can think of. They seem to finally have a real team around Trey. DeAndre Hunter will certainly be competitive for Six Man of the Year awards. Dyson Daniels should be all defense. Jalen Johnson may pick up some more votes for most improved. And they really haven't seen Bojan Bogdanovic and Zachary Risseger get going yet. And if they both end up improving their shooting, and certainly Bogdanovic should, are a competitive team. Meanwhile, it's coming while Trey's having literally the worst offensive season of his career, shooting sub 40% from the floor, 31% from three, which is a career worst. Even his free throw, well, his free throws are a little better. He does, but I mean, his assist to turnover ratio, I think, is reflecting, that he has actual scorers and shooters with him now instead of, DeJounte Murray was kind of a ball hog, and then, John Collins, who just was kind of a lob threat and nothing else. Yeah, it's weird stuff. The Hawks were on a 5 game winning streak, 6 game, yeah, 6 game winning streak. They beat Cleveland twice. Had some problems with Charlotte, beat Milwaukee on the road, won a very impressive overtime game against Los Angeles, and then kind of got shithoused by Denver, but Jokic is on another plane of existence right now, so you can't hold that too much against them. They're not too much dissimilar from the Knicks. They can beat anybody on a given night, and they have a lot of good wins, but they've lost to Washington twice, um, lost to Detroit, lost to Chicago twice, uh, got destroyed by a Golden State team that's not that very good, lost to Portland, but we'll sort of give them some credit for beating Sacramento on the next night of the back-to-back. Yeah, they're a weird team. This is a game between two weird fucking teams. But one of those teams has a competitive record against teams with winning records, and it's not the Knicks. Um, before the tournament, before the tournament started, Waylon's pick to make it to the championship was the Magic. And he thought they would face the Warriors as kind of a repeat of last year's Pacers Lakers series with a young, hungry, but sort of ultimately uh, kind of middling, but maybe not really. Eastern Conference team facing sort of the legacy Western Conference team. And Whalen's belief was that, they would basically hand the cup to Steph Curry as as sort of a final exclamation point on his career, much like they did with LeBron last year. Very possible, but I am now going with the Hawks as the young, hungry Eastern Conference team that makes a run out of it to the championship. I think they're going to beat the Knicks. If the Knicks can beat them, the Hawks are probably more towards the lower end of the teams that the Knicks have beaten in terms of strength of schedule. Yeah, I mean, I forgot this even exists. So the Hawks actually have a winning record against 500 clubs, but they're 7-7 against 500 teams. So whereas the Knicks are 9-4 and 5-5. Um, they do have sort of an expansive definition of versus 500. And so I think the Knicks have a couple wins against the Heat and excuse me, that's not that exciting. I think the Hawks can pull it off, and I am delusional enough to think that the Hawks can beat the Bucks in the semifinal in the East. I don't know why I think that. I mean, the Bucks are even worse than the Knicks against above 500 clubs. They've also feasted on the dregs of the conference. How do you feel about whether the Hawks are the dregs or if they deserve their above 500 reputation? Probably a bit in the eye of the beholder, but I don't see a team that's really been significantly worse than uh, either the Bucks or the Knicks. And I think this is the kind of sort of shithead try hard scenario that Trae Young thrives in. He did in fact beat the Knicks in Madison Square Garden a couple of years ago. Yeah, it's going to come down to some BS variables that are sort of beyond anybody's control. Namely, Trae could just as easily shoot them out of either game. And if he's going to have a night where he's 1 of 7 or 2 of 10 for three, then the Hawks are probably screwed. But if he's even shooting at an average level, he's good enough to get the team past both of these squads. So I am going to pick the Hawks to make it out of the East. Um, I don't feel good about that prediction. I mean, the only team here I am reasonably confident has no shot of making it through is the Magic. And again, this format is also just as well suited for playing your guys 48 minutes a game, which is what Tom Thibodeau wants to do with the Knicks. But I don't know. The Hawks seem to step it up when it matters in these games, which I also think suits the format. And again, it may very well come down to either a hot shooting night or a cold shooting night for Trae. But I'm pivoting here. I'm picking the Hawks instead of the Knicks to make it to the championship. I don't feel great about it. If I eat crow, so be it. Um, Shifting back to the West in the last game here, Rockets Warriors. I felt better about the Rockets' chances until a few nights ago when they lost to Golden State. Um, Golden State, and I think Steph Curry was actually out that night. Yeah, Steph was out. Seemed like a golden opportunity for Houston to sort of show that there was a vibe shift in the West and that they're deserving of the top. And it just didn't. And they shot, yeah, they just shot terribly, sub 40% from the floor, sub 30% from the three. Golden State really stepped up defensively. Kuminga came out of nowhere to have really his best game as a pro. And this is without Draymond or Steph on the floor. You're giving 37 minutes to what's left of Brandon Podziemski, who already looks kind of like he's turned back into a pumpkin there. Um, yeah, and then Golden State after that lost to the Timberwolves. Okay. Then they had a rematch game against the Timberwolves with Draymond throwing down the night celly and the big dunk. Um, Steph having a 30-point game, but he healed back doing what he does. Kuminga playing well again. all of the sudden, Golden State after that hot start, and then the long losing streak, it kind of feels like they have their swagger back a bit. They've beaten Houston twice now. Um, I mean, one game went to overtime, but this kind of feels like the Thunder Mavericks in the sense of that uh, Houston's not quite ready for prime time, and the narrative's going to be that a an older and more experienced Golden State team will just knows how to beat them in this format. So I think Waylon's right. Warriors move on. I think they beat the Mavericks too. The Mavericks are just still not a good defensive team, and the NBA, sorry, excuse me, the Warriors have been generally pretty good defensively this year. Pulling up D rating. Yeah, I mean, Golden State's still fourth in the league in D rating. Dallas isn't as bad as I expected. They're eighth at 109. You know, but get the fuck out of there. Why am I getting ads for anything ever? Yeah, I mean, not a huge gap by the net rating. I mean, Dallas is better, but I mean, they have played better overall, which that matters less to me in sort of like a one and done kind of game. And I think Waylon's probably not wrong that any close calls are going to go in Steph's favor. Again, I don't feel great about picking the Warriors coming out of the West here, but because again, if Steph's knee, has a bad night with his knees or something, or it's a cold shooting night, if Buddy doesn't shoot well, there's nothing else there. I mean, the Warriors have basically shown themselves to be a team that, at least offensively, are two and a half players. I mean, I don't know. Wiggins has been okay, but I think he gives back basically everything he does on offense. On defense, he's also dealing with a bum ankle, so I don't think he can be relied on as a second scorer. It's got to be Kuminga or Buddy. Um, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I think this is something where Steph probably sees it as a personal challenge to to match LeBron winning the NBA Cup last year and winning the NBA Cup MVP, which will probably be named the LeBron James Trophy someday. I don't know what they're going to name out after Steph. I said in the Discord they should get rid of the mostly nonsense clutch player of the year award and replace it with the best shooter of the year award in honor of Steph. You couldn't have such an award now because I think Steph would genuinely win it every single year. But once he goes, you can find sort of the best combination. I don't know, just give it to the non-center who has the best true shooting percentage every year or whatever. It doesn't matter. Steph will eventually get something named after him. But anyway, yeah, championship round, Warriors versus Hawks. I think the Hawks magic, to the extent there is such a thing, runs out at this point, and I think Waylon's right. I think this is going to be Golden State. I'm not happy about it. I think it'll fuel the narrative that they're a legitimate contender again. I personally take the stance that the Warriors are not and will not be dead as a contender until Steph Curry is, and I don't mean retired. I mean when he's actually dead. 50 years from now, hopefully, I don't want a Kobe Bryant scenario for him, but I will believe that he will come back and lead them to another deeply annoying title to be celebrated by the worst kind of tech bro dipshits in the Bay Area. No sooner until it's confirmed that he's dead. And for all I know, they're working on uploading his consciousness to a Neuralink so he can, Robo Curry can play and hit logo threes forever and continue to turn the game into a game of horse if you're a whiny baby like Bomani Jones or whatever. Um, yeah, Warriors come out of this. Steph Curry will win the LeBron James Memorial in the future IST MVP. And you know what? I don't think it's bad for the league. As annoying as it is, the Warriors drive ratings. I think the league ideally, from their perspective, wants Warriors Knicks final. I think Warriors Hawks alone would probably get eyeballs on the product. Certainly you'd have a I think you'd have a better I remember the Vegas crowd being pretty bad last year, but I think having hopefully people would come in from the Bay Area, although they didn't come in from Los Angeles and that's closer. So I don't know. Um, but yeah, it's going to be the Warriors. It's going to be Steph Curry. Um, it is what it is. I would love to be wrong for once. I think outside of the Mavericks, any of these other teams winning would be well, no, not the fucking Knicks. I don't know. The Knicks I have no beef with the Knicks players or their coach, or even their style of basketball. I just think their fans fucking suck. They have all the obnoxiousness and entitlement of Lakers or Warriors or Celtics fans with none of the success. So deeply annoying fan base. I don't want anything good for them. Most of them will probably be too busy bitching about Juan Soto not signing with the Yankees, but doesn't matter. I mean, I'd still probably rather see them win than the Warriors and the Mavericks, but it's not happening. It's gonna be Golden State, and then we'll see what happens in year three. Hopefully they'll tweak some of the formatting, especially to make fewer back-to-backs. But for the most part, I enjoy the NBA Cup. I am way smarter than every basketball writer alive. You should only take my takes and Waylon's takes as gospel. Yeah, fuck Danny Chow. He sucks as a writer. Give me your job, bitch.